computers that were used in conjunction with her private server, reports Washington Examiner. But this report that was released just yesterday says that, well, they were never asked to turn over, the aides anyway, were never asked to turn over their devices. Why? Well, why would they do that? Why would they turn over? And that was part of the initial investigation into Servergate. We really got to think of another name for that. Some mental note, not calling it Servergate. It's so annoying. But the private email server, that whole scandal, that the initial investigation actually didn't even go into asking aides for personal devices, which seems to me to be kind of ridiculous. Oh, look, George helps out over at the Blaze, helps out with like female body inspectors. That's it's because the FBI is apparently not doing their job. Full-blooded Irish. Oh, there you go. Forbidden Planet International. Fat Boys of Illinois. That's kind of one of my favorites. Maybe it doesn't mean the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Maybe that's why the FBI never asked the Clinton aides for their devices, guys. Maybe it was the wrong FBI. Maybe it was the Fat Boys of Illinois. And they didn't, or there's also, let's see, Famous but Incompetent. There you go. Fairy Tale Believers Incorporated. A Turkish football team name I can't pronounce. Fenerbahce.
Sure.
Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce. I don't know. I like the Fat Boys of Illinois. Or Frank's Breakfast Inn. Maybe. Now this makes sense, guys. Hold on for a second. This makes sense. Maybe, let's walk it back, take a couple steps back. Maybe, just maybe, the reason that the FBI did not ask for Hillary Clinton's aides is, so many possessives here, Hillary Clinton's aides' devices is because they asked Frank's Breakfast Inn and not the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That has to be the explanation. Now, I'm going to appeal to the authority of Marty, who is our resident gangsta / criminal justice person. Now, Marty, there is the off chance that, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, which you weren't expecting this, which we love to do. But there is the off chance that it was not the FBI and it was indeed Frank's Breakfast Inn that was appealed to in terms of this initial investigation into Hillary Clinton's server, correct? Yes?
I believe that's correct. That's a possibility.
Yeah, it's a possibility. So that's why they didn't ask for the devices and do things that the FBI would normally do, right?
I mean, that's the only logical explanation.
Because I would see, we're always told the FBI, like James Comey, super competent dude, right? Super competent. The guy.
Hey, friends, and a pleasant good evening to Welcome to Lions Live, the only network built by the players, for you, the fans. My name's Skip Dreibelbis, along with Yaacov Yisrael. Big dude Stephen Davis will be joining us here lately. We're waiting for the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy, to be getting on here talking Penn State football on another fun-filled week here at Penn State Sports on the Forever Lions Network. We're not a podcast, and this program is not pre-recorded. You're watching and listening to us live here, broadcasting on radio and streaming on lionslive.com. So thanks for joining us. Get a hold of us on Facebook. Send a question. Get a hold of us on Facebook. We'll get your number. You give us a call in here. Be glad to have you on talking Penn State football. Penn State coming off a great win here this past weekend. I think surprised us all. Ran up some scores, got ranked higher. Yaacov, what do you think about this past win?
Hey, Skip, good to be back. Yeah, great. You know, I remember we talked about it last week. Purdue, you know, it was going from, you know, basically Penn State having a whiteout, 107,000, now going to Purdue, where they're averaging like 45,000. So, you know, a big drop-off as far as atmosphere was. And we kind of anticipated that. And then also Purdue, when they went against Nebraska, the week we played Ohio State, they went into halftime with them tied at half. So, you know, they kind of had that reputation of you know, putting up a good fight early, but kind of falling in the second half. And, you know, that kind of, you know, held true this past week. But, you know, really, I can't remember the last time we scored 60 points. I don't know. I mean, I can't really remember that. But, that's just a great, that's amazing. The team is doing some amazing things.
And definitely a big win. Definitely a big win. It's nice to see Penn State being able to get in, getting everybody on the sidelines. Everybody traveled. Hopefully, could get in the game, get some experience out there in the field. That'll help build depth here for future. And that was great to see a win like that. And was that Stefford or Jimmy that just joined us?
This is Grizz. Yeah,
hey,
what's up,
Jimmy.
fellas?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you on board, Jimmy.
I don't think any of us thought that Penn State was going to put up 60-something points. But then on top of all that, it's weird for them to be picked as, 14 to 21-point underdog? And the game wasn't even close this past week. No. Right? I wonder who picked those things. Like a 14-point underdog, and then the game was 61 points. The most. I was tweeting about it during the game, and I said, this is probably the most complete game I've seen Penn State play all year. Obviously there was a lot of questions going around saying, we having a great year. And there was a couple of, I know like HQ Shipley was saying that, we got blown out by Michigan, so it's hard for him to say that we're having a great year. And I was saying, given the situation, given what we overcame and stuff in the past and stuff, and the lack of, scholarships and stuff, to go off and have, don't get me wrong, obviously we lost to Michigan, but we responded back. We still have, over 5 wins already. We have 6 wins now.
Oh, we're bowl bound, buddy. Bowl bound.
Yeah, we're bowl bound.
And possibly playoff bound.
Yeah, and we beat Ohio State and so on, and we continue to keep building. So, I was trying to make those points. Considering I don't think anyone had these expectations that Penn State has already, accomplished this year so far. I don't think that anyone thought that they was going to. I don't get me wrong. I know they was going to probably. Most people were thinking some kind of toilet bowl or something like that. Maybe they'll have 6 wins. Yeah, for the most part, they'll have a 6-win season or so on, a 7-win game. But we was picked to lose to Ohio State. We was picked to lose in most of these games. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I think they played some great ball this past weekend. It was on the road, so that plays a part. That builds confidence coming off of a great home win. So great job, Penn State.
Yeah,
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, well said, Jimmy. It was a great game, and I was glad to be able to see everybody come up with a big win like this. Again, here's how guys get experience when you can have a nice, solid win on the road. Everybody who travels hopefully can get some time experience on the field out there. Makes for a great ride home and coming into a week here back home at Penn State. But I think you're right, Jimmy. And, I think Penn State's now, they're firing on all cylinders, I think it was a slow start, but now it seems like things are starting to click and come together. I think the team's really actually come together as a team and started playing together as a team more so than they maybe were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and I don't want to, jump ahead too far because we have Iowa this week, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I think. I think right now the confidence is there. I think given that we just beat Ohio State, we won a couple of tight ones and stuff between, Maryland and Minnesota and so on. Like we had some good battles. We had some good battles in terms of like the Pittsburgh game was a close one, was a good battle tested. We fought through injury. We kept overcoming adversity and so on. The guys stuck together and so on, like I've always preached. And now the confidence is there. So going through all those battles and stuff is getting you battle tested. But when you go through and you beat the number 2 ranked team in the country, now it's like, oh my God, we're really talented. Now you start looking in the mirror, you start reading your clippings a little bit more and so on, but not, Coach Franklin's doing a great job of not keeping guys on their high horse, letting guys, get overconfident. And the guys is really, but like when they was out there playing, I'm sure they was thinking like, you know what? Purdue isn't like Ohio State, and we just won that game. You know what I'm saying? Purdue isn't now, they're not the number 2 ranked in the country. What do we have to lose? But now it's a different confidence when you go into a game and you now have a 24 before they say Penn State. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, all right, let's go. Like You know, it's a different reason to play. Now they are David, they're Goliath. You know, they're at the top of the mountain and so on, and now everyone wants to knock them off. And I say that in the sense of Purdue not being ranked and Penn State being ranked and so on. Now it's like, let's try to pull up an upset and so on. And Penn State went out there with that confidence. And me personally, moving forward to this week, I love what Penn State has been doing the last couple of weeks, the last few weeks. But I always get nervous on how the coaches, and this is from my past experience, on how they coach when it comes to playing with Iowa. I think the coaches always coach uptight when it comes to playing the Iowa game. At least that's how it was when I was there. What do you guys think?
Well, we didn't play Iowa back in my day.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, guys. I'm with you on that.
Other than that, you know, I thought Penn State did amazing. I was upset, though. This is off topic with me trying to show Yaacov and Illinois alumni, however you want to say it, a little bit of love, just to go against my gut. And what happened? Thanks, Yaacov. I needed that law. Listen, because Lovey's a third, so I gotta go with Lovey. It's home. It's this poor Yaacov.
Oh yeah.
I was chasing Big Dude, and look what happened.
Yeah, hey, well, guess who ran the table this week, man? I was the second one to do it. I got all mine picked right.
No, that's awesome.
Wait, it was one I thought we missed though. In the Big Ten, I thought. Was it Michigan State?
Which one was it?
Nah, because we knew Michigan was going to be Michigan State.
Oh, yeah, we all picked that one.
Or
yeah.
No, it was Indiana. I think Indiana.
No, actually,
Indiana Rutgers or Indiana Maryland.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the one. That's the one that Big Dude missed.
Yeah, I think we missed the Indiana game or the Maryland game.
No, I got it on here. I'm pulling it up online now. It's on our website, lineslive.com, folks. We keep our scores, and I didn't run the stats. I didn't crunch the numbers again. I have the numbers right and wrong, but I didn't run the calculation for percentages, so you'll see that at the bottom. But Maryland 36, Indiana 42. Actually, everybody did pick Indiana on that one.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I thought Big D picked Maryland.
No, he picked Nebraska to beat Wisconsin. All three of us got it right. Big Dude missed that one. He picked Nebraska for that as an upset, and but we all three got that right. But you know, you guys did good. You only missed one this week, or last week. That was good.
Yeah, that was my bad. I'll get you back on that one. Big Hey, but I wanted
next song wrong with my gut.
I wanted to throw out a congrats to Saquon Barkley. He was named he's a Maxwell Award semifinalist.
Oh, wow.
And, Grizz, you could probably talk on some of these things. He's among 18 semifinalists, and the Maxwell Football Club Award is for the National Player of the Year. So, that's a big-time award there, and he currently leads the Big Ten and is 20th nationally in rushing yards per game, averaging 110 yards per outing. And also he's top in the conference and 16th in the total college football in total touchdowns with 11. And he is a two-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week selection versus Maryland and Purdue. And he was also selected CBS Sports National Player of the Week after the game against Purdue. So, big congrats on that. So he's actually had two 200-yard rushing games in one season, and that was dated back to LJ. So, they're finding ways to keep him going. So that's a good thing.
I was listening to him, No, you guys know me. I know we talk about keeping it real and so on with our picks. And I guess for me, I always try to keep it real when it comes to just the knowledge and the different stuff that I look at when it comes to when I played this game and what I've learned and what I've seen and now adding just a little bit of, being a fan to it. First off, there's too many politics and stuff that goes into him winning that award. That award, it's still, to a point, it's still a little bit of negative when you hear, Penn State, congrats to him when it comes to that, but in terms of nationally and so on, what I like about him is he's hardworking, he's always coming ready to play and so on, and I know we have a young team, but comparing him to Larry, which is what I say to Larry and I say to anyone and so on, and as a defensive player who was there with Larry and with those guys, I take nothing away from his success. I think he's amazing. He's an amazing person. I mean, he's an amazing guy, amazing teammate. But what I never liked was, what was Saquon's yards when we played Michigan? What was his yards when we played Ohio State? It's great to go out there and play Illinois and put up 270 or 260, terrible Michigan State defense, or so on. I look back then. I used to be a defensive player at Penn State and wanted to kill Larry. Like, well, hold up, you just did 270 versus, Illinois last week, and now we out here and you 265 versus Northwestern. For Michigan, you got 34 yards, 45 yards. I want those guys to show up versus the big guys, because that's what you determine, and I'm not knocking it because I know Larry went on to have a great, NFL career and so on, and he put up some great numbers, with Kansas City and so on, and he did his thing. So I take nothing away from him talent-wise. I'm just speaking as a defensive player. I mean, I always wanted to, and I'm not making it like about an envious thing or nothing like that, because I used to see this when I was out there working and putting up great numbers and so on, and then, you got this running back over there who's not showing up for the big games, and he's getting all the accolades and so on because, he carries the ball. So I just want, Saquon and the coaching staff to find ways for him to be successful against the top-notch programs that we play. I prided myself when I played out there. When I went out there to Ohio State, whether my helmet was coming off, whether I was blocking kicks or whatever the case may be, I wanted to make my mark versus Ohio State. I wanted to make my mark versus Michigan and the big boys. When we was in Auburn and when we played in the bowl game versus Auburn, we didn't have no offense at all. But I wanted to leave it on the field, knowing it was my last game, but also it's the bowl game, and I'm trying to, if we can't make him, and I say we, in terms of the coaches and so on, if they can't make him successful versus the top guns, how are we going to survive in the playoffs? You understand? How are we going to survive in the playoffs if all of a sudden we become one-dimensional and so on? We ask the Trace to win it with some, some receivers and everything else. Why not give it to our workhorse? So that's what I'm looking forward to those guys doing. Like I said, I take nothing away from his success. He's a talented. I pray that he has an amazing NFL career and so on. Stay healthy and everything else. I just want him to be put in more of a successful situation because I'm not questioning his want-to. I'm not questioning his want-to. I'm just speaking in terms of a collectively staff-oriented. I mean, the staff, the players, all of us just, go out there and put him in a situation where he can help our team continue to win versus the big guys. Mm-hmm. I'm done with my rant. My bad.
All right, Jimmy. No, that's great points. Great points. I think big dudes just joined us. Stefan, how are you tonight?
Okay, gentlemen. How are y'all?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, we're just
doing all right.
Giving a little recap here tonight of last week's game, Stefan. I wanted to see if we get some comments from you.
Well, again, I didn't have the opportunity because of two things I had to do. I was actually supporting a young man at Cheney University on his senior game, so I got to see the highlights, and obviously 61 points is a lot of points. I realized it was supposed to be against Purdue, but then Purdue has a game that's better one week. I think the difference is now is last year they would not have been able to respond to a game where people were scoring on them. I think to me that's the most important thing, that you are able to respond when other challenges come in. And a lot of times in a win game, you get trashed. Let me turn that for this. It's not working. Yeah, so I still was going to say that they played well. I saw the statistics, and I heard what Jimmy was saying. I'm right with you. I think the only thing I would add to what you were saying is really to take a look at. I mean, that's the only thing. I don't know that it's even fair. Like I said, I can't even remember what offensive line you had. I mean, to be honest with you, the offensive line is way better than anybody thought they were going to be. So my question would be to also those starting five, how do they play against Michigan, and how are they going to play against somebody in a better ball game and everything else? And the thing to remember is Barkley wasn't even supposed to be, as a sophomore, he wasn't even supposed to be doing any of this. There's a guy that was supposed to be watching for a year. So I definitely agree with where you're coming from. And again, I would say, besides your efforts, you had some other impact players that were able to be consistent. You guys had impact players. If you didn't do it one week, the next person did it the other week. And I think that's the point Penn State is getting to. And to be honest with you, we didn't expect them to do any of these things against the teams that supposedly were lesser, because at the time, Maryland wasn't lesser. I mean, they were 4-0. And then we look at Ohio State. I thought we would play in a game. And again, I picked Penn State. And like you said, hey, man, I held my breath on blind faith. Hey, we win. But there's just so many other ways. I think the difference with this team is the upside is just so much more there now that you have the other things. I think what you're talking about is, Jimmy, people wanting the competition, people craving to have that better team. And they may not be thinking about it, but the question is what is the mental approach against a Michigan versus the mental approach against a Purdue? And I think now what we're doing is we're showing that we're not only playing the games and winning the games that we're supposed to win, we're winning them by just a prohibitive margin. There just was not going to be anybody there as much as, and I didn't see a whole lot of it. I looked at my phone. There was some back and forth things going on, and seeing some of the highlights and plays and seeing other people make big plays and seeing other people, I think Andre Robinson and other folks, I think that'd be the difference as well, that if Barkley doesn't have to get 30 carries against the Michigan, what's he going to be like? If we have a three-headed monster, is he going to be that much better? Or if we really solidify what's going on in the middle, with Gaia and the other two guys that are in the middle, how can we get better, as time goes along? What's going to happen against Iowa? We know Iowa has an outstanding defense. Well, Iowa certainly is not Purdue, and, to say that Barkley might get 207 against them, it's hard to say, but then people didn't think that. I think Eric McCoo was going to get 200 and something yards against Ohio State, where I happened to go, and I was shocked. And he had his games against Michigan, and you had a bunch of people that were there. The '94 team, of course, came back, and they almost lost to an Indiana team. There's no way they almost should have lost to. So it's hard to say, because the Big Ten and around the other places has made some noise, even the ones that with the subpar record, I think you're seeing a lot more competitive football than you've ever seen. So I think for Penn State now, I think I heard ranked 12th. They just can't, and this is where I agree with Joe. You don't pay attention to anything that you read in the papers. Don't worry about it. Knock it off, and let's get better. Both units on defense and both units on offense. How far have we come? So I think that they're coming far, and obviously this game is going to be no pushover. We got to get up on Iowa first, even though we're at home. And if we even have a first drive, that's what showed me against Ohio State. That first drive, even though we had the block field goal, I saw on the field that we were getting push-up against front, and we were getting to the second level. I mean, if we do that and get to the second level, we can control the football game. And toughness, there's just no measurement for it. You got to go out there, and you got to be tough, and you got to believe you're tough, and you got to get it done. And you have to want to, me as a back, I wanted to get my guys in the end zone. DJ Dozier, Blair Thomas. I think DJ, even though DJ actually had an exceptional freshman year, but other than that, his other career. He didn't have any other career years because he really didn't. I mean, you had DJ, you had Tony Mumford, you had John Williams. I mean, and then the next year you had DJ and you had Tony Mumford, and Tony got half of those carries. And then you had Steve Smith and Tim Manoa. See, people don't understand then we had 4 people that would have been big running backs today that were also fullbacks. So we had 5 or 6 people getting the ball, but it was that fourth quarter I think we have to look at with Barkley. Is he going to be ready to take the game over in the fourth quarter and make a play that many other backs wouldn't make, or chop somebody down in pass protection, to make sure McSorley can get the throw off, or make sure you can spring McSorley for a big run. To me, it's all these other intangibles that we haven't found out about Barkley. Can he block? Does he know pass protection? I think more so than the yards he's putting up, I think that's something that's going to get the team to the next level and possibly to a big bowl game.
To piggyback off of what Big Dude said was, when we had McCool, it was the same situation. When we got there, we had Larry Johnson as a backup, Ken Watson, we had Cordell Mitchell, we had Aaron Harris, we had Omar Easy. We had a bunch of running backs, and Eric McCool was still getting it done, and so on. And when people's numbers was called, they stepped up. That's what I was saying when it came to, what I'm trying to say when it comes to just having Saquon. If Saquon is out of the game, who else do we have? What are we doing? Mm-hmm. It's like, he brings a certain attitude, a certain dynamic, showing that we need to add on. But then also, I understand what you're saying when it comes to like if we play a big time Michigan or big time Ohio State. I think like when I was there, we had a solid offensive line. But I don't. Sometimes it's just the running back as well, making smart decisions. And not getting frustrated because that's 8 in the clock.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, I would like to see, like I said, more of a chess game and not checkers. I just feel like I'm worried this week when it comes to Iowa, because I know Iowa's going to come in there and play. They're going to play tough defense and everything else. And only thing that keeps me favoring Penn State is I can't, coming off of how they've been playing in that whiteout situation at night with the everything. Like, I mean, how can you not perform well there? So that's the only thing that keeps me thinking that they got the momentum going right now. They have the crowd going. That you hear that, and like, oh my God, and then it's all white. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, it's all it can factor into a game sometimes. Take yourself back to the first time you as a freshman coming onto the field, and you're in the stadium. Now, back when we were there, was like 86,000, Stefan, wasn't it? It wasn't. They didn't put all the additions on.
Yeah, 86.9, I think, was the most we could hold.
Right, and we were there, and the first time I remember as a freshman walking out in the field, I was like, wow, But I'll tell you what, after 5 minutes, you don't even notice anybody's there. And that's just because I think it factors in sometimes, but not as much. Not as much as people I think make it to try to factor. And it may be harder to hear. Okay, yeah, that's a physical barrier that can sometimes throw a count off or something like that. But as far as the focus of the player, I mean, these people you don't even notice them. I mean, I know fans, they don't like to hear that. You're there, you're trying to want to participate, feel like something you're saying or shout and screaming is going to make a difference. Listen, the player is so focused and intent and doing his job that no matter what anybody does, unless somebody runs out and breaks up the play, streaking out on the field maybe and interrupts the play, you're not going to throw anybody off. I mean, it just doesn't happen. That's just my experience with it. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Penn State's played Iowa 25 times going back since 1930. This will be the first night game at Beaver Stadium since 1987, going back that far. Just normally don't do night games this late in the season. So it's going to be interesting. Here's the weather. Today it's warm outside. I have no idea what it's going to be like Saturday. It's just that way in State College. So all these things I think are going to play something into it. I don't know if it's going to be raining or not either. Anybody pick up the weather?
No, I haven't looked at it. I mean, I know out this way it's going to be, you got to figure if it's 4 hours away, it's going to be 62 during the day, probably game time, it'll probably be about 54, 55. And I still think it's going to be clear. So as we know, there's that Beaver Stadium wing that you just can't account for. That's not on the report. So there's that wing that we saw when we were in Ohio State. You get in there, and all of a sudden, Skip, you and I are looking at flags flying and knuckleball punts and all those other things.
It's the weirdest thing.
Spiral punch the other way.
Yeah, because, we're looking at the one flag. Hey, look at this one down here, and the flag's still. And you see this other one like, whoa. It's kind of like literally doing like a twirly bird, So it is kind of weird what it does there.
Twirly bird, man. I haven't heard that term in a long time, man.
Yeah, it's wow. But you go out there, you see guys throw up the grass, wondering, to see how the wind's blowing. You kind of do that. You look at the flags, and okay, you never kick outside the post when you draw your line to kick it. But if it's a strong right or left, but when it's swirling like that, you just aim down the middle and hope that a big gust doesn't come and carry it out. That's all you can do.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, Penn State has quite a history here with Iowa, and we won last year with them again, 34-14. Iowa obviously wants to come in here and try to pick up a win against Penn State. It's going to be big for their program to try to knock Penn State off again. Where we were trying to knock off Ohio State, now everybody's going to be coming in here wanting to say, hey, okay, they knock off Penn State, we knocked off the team that was ranked number 2 most of the season. Could be in the playoffs for the playoff, So it's interesting the dynamics as the season plays on here. And what do you think are going to be some of the most important things of this game? It's not that we haven't talked about it already, but I think it's going to come down to those basics again. Defense, special teams, and offense.
Yeah, I would say, all those things that Jimmy was talking about is how do we get all the units better? What kind of challenge does especially the offensive and defensive line, and what are the ways that they're looking at it? Almost everybody I spoke with when we got done the game Saturday, they all asked us, they said, boy, when did Penn State's defensive line get back to their days of being aggressive and making big plays? Everybody was saying that didn't even know about football. They said, man, Penn State's D-line, man, that reminded me of like 15 years ago. So those are the things that people were saying. And I think that aggressiveness and that rotation that really happened, I think, almost by accident. And then the rotation in linebacker that happened out of necessity, it also happened by accident. You got a lot more people that are ready to play and a lot of younger guys that want to make big plays. And, there's a few things, especially on the O-line, staying on a block for another second. I don't know, but I think I saw some of the highlights, and I noticed when Barkley broke through, it was just getting a piece of the guy, the linebacker, being on the right angle, or just staying on for another second. When you stay on the block for another second, and I used to hate to hear Joe say that. Joe's like, stay on another second. I was like, what's he talking about? So, it's all making sense now. It's all making sense. He's going, and those things continue to resonate in all of us. And Jimmy, I'm sure on defense there were several things and more things. By the time y'all came there's probably so much that we missed, and we didn't know how he came at y'all. But there's all those other things that I think, and like he said, football's a game of inches, all the little small things. He used to keep saying that. Like, why does he keep saying that? Leave me alone. I know it's a game of inches, man. Come on, man. We had enough. A professional used to make that quote. A professional was one simply that knows what he is doing. He said, I'm like, listen, it's all making sense. all the stuff that Jimmy is talking about is, from his professionalism, knowing what it is that you're doing. When you started talking about working out, you working with those parking meters and doing all those other things, it's all, professionalism and budding professionalism is what we're seeing, and excellence buds like that as well, little by little. So I think, hey, you got to control the football. Defense has got to, want to do what they have to do to get off the field. Offense has got to want to keep the defense off the field so they can be as fresh as possible. So I think a lot of this in Iowa is going to be being fresh and not to look at turnovers. I thought I saw that we had a few more penalties than I remember before looking at the statistics. So obviously, stupid penalties and other things are there. But I think we should be at a point where we're not even talking about that as much now, other than just folks coming in, folks contributing, people we hadn't heard from before. One guy on the D-line that I'm really impressed with is number 30, Kevin Gibbons. He really is starting to make a difference and make his presence known up front. As a guy who's not a household name that was giving J.T. Barrett some problems, and the guard. He was killing them, So to let other people make plays. And that's what I see with the defensive line. They see that they have to win their battles to get other people sacks and tackles in the backfield. So.
We know, Stefan, some of this says.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that Iowa stuff. And interestingly, they had a bye week last week, so they didn't actually have a game. So that I feel obviously will help them like it helped us versus Ohio State. But also, they lost to Wisconsin 9-17, and then the week prior they beat Purdue 49-35. So they were definitely in a dogfight with Purdue, and they lost to Northwestern 31-38. So, and then they actually remember. You probably remember the upset early in the season. They lost to North Dakota State. 20.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've lost 2 in the Big Ten. They've beaten Rutgers, Minnesota, and Purdue so far, and they still got us, Michigan, Illinois, and Nebraska left.
Well, they're playing. This is going to be a tough game.
They're going to beat Illinois. They're going to beat Illinois. We know that.
Wow. Y'all are rough, man. You guys are rough.
That's a given.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in right now. Put that down for me, Skip.
I got you. We'll get to that week when we get there.
Don't give up on the touchdown, man. You can't do that.
But I wanted to mention here. Stephen Port got a good point here about penalties. Last week we actually gave up a lot in penalties. We had 11 penalties for 91 yards, which is a lot, and that's something we need to be careful of here. I mean, we played good ball, but the turnovers. They had 4 turnovers, not us. Last week, Purdue turned the ball over 4 times. Turned over 4 times. That's 4 scoring opportunities. That's 28 points. Minimum. So, they shot themselves a lot in the foot, but I think they're a good team. But I think Iowa always plays us tough. I mean, they always play tough ball with us, and even the series itself is at 13-12. We were one. It's been a pretty even match series over all the years of the times we played. So, they're going to come in here. They're going to want to play some ball, and I think it's probably going to be one of the toughest. It could be a tough game. Not the toughest, but one of the toughest ones. I mean, we fought hard with Ohio State, but Ohio State, I think, so because of coaching decisions, an amazing providence. I mean, think that here we are, end of the game, and first of all, it's hard to block a kick. You know that, Jimmy. It's hard to block a field goal, but to get it blocked, have it bounce just the right way in the guy's arms, or run it for a touchdown, amazing providence, okay? That shouldn't have ended that way. The other question could have been asked, why didn't they punt, okay, and let their defense finish it out? I mean, again, we were fortunate for that win to knock off the number 2 team, but, it's like Joe told us, you're not as good as you think you are, not as bad as you think you are either at any given time. You have to keep that perspective, because this team's going to come in here, and this is going to be, it's probably going to be one of the best games as far as a good dogfight that we can watch all year.
Right.
Because I think they're pretty evenly matched. I think we're pretty evenly matched here. I think if you had to do it all over again, Ohio State would probably beat us. But, hey, we're thankful for that win, man. That's getting us to a great ball game this year.
And I'm not so sure. I think what we're finding out about Ohio State, I mean, everybody got caught up into the hype. I just don't think Ohio State would deserve that ranking, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I saw them all year. I thought they were okay. Did I think they were number 2 team? No. I think they deserve to be in the top 5, probably. But then what we saw is one thing about Ohio State is especially with even last year, they won some games, but they struggled on some on the road, like most people do in the Big Ten. Some road games, and I think that could have been also why we got some of those penalties as well. You know how it goes. You get an officiating crew, whoever the officiating crew is, especially you get on the road, what they don't call holding in state college, they call holding in other places. That's what they do, or other penalties. You know,
Yeah,
I guess it really depends.
just ask Jimbo Fisher last week about his.
Yeah, I'm about to say, spoken like a true Florida State fan, huh?
Wow. No, I wasn't even going there to tell you the truth.
No, but I remember. I read the article about it. I saw his press conference, and I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Man, he was really ripping into them. I was wondering, did they find him this week for any of his comments?
I haven't heard.
Yeah, I didn't follow up either, but I heard him going off like that, and it's not too often to hear a coach going off. He legitimate points, but either way, they got beat. You know, at the end of the day, they got beat.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
No, this one I gave up on Clemson. Man.
What was the Ohio State game? It wasn't there an Ohio State game we lost by a bad call one time. They didn't expect us to do too much, and then we ended up losing it. Like, come on, coach. Was it Michigan? And they asked Joe. They said, so, coach, did you want to comment on the call? He said, I'm not going to say anything. You're not going to give me. You guys saw it. Yeah, because you know what it was. Remember, it was a Michigan game where he chased the referees. That was crazy.
Yes,
that was crazy.
And then it was an Ohio State game where one time we dropped the ball, they called it a catch, and then we caught the ball, and they said it was no catch.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, now with all the replays, you think these guys are going to start getting a little bit better at this. But, you know, I guess, you know, there's always that human element. Somebody misses something. But I'd say overall this year, though, and the rest have been doing a pretty good job. And, you know, thanks to the replay, you know, I've seen some replays, again, and I just don't understand how they get to what they did with what they could view. But, you know, even the replay review people sometimes probably, you know, can make that mistake.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, this would be a good game. I mean, it's you know, Iowa. When you think about them, they were last year's Big Ten West champions. So you know they still have, you know, even though they got dinged up, they still coming off of a strong season last year. So. But you know, Penn State is kind of catching fire, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I'm really happy for Coach Franklin. You know, I could tell that the weight. He almost feel like the weight was lifted off his shoulders finally, because he feels like he's finally settling in, and everything's starting to come together. And I'm really happy for him because, you know, I know he's, you know, hey, he's a human, you know, and he's got a lot of stress. He carries the burdens of everybody. You know, he knows what he wants to. He remembers the Penn State of old, and I think he's a good man. He's trying to put it all together, and he's doing a great job of it. And hopefully that, you know, this will put an end to the naysayers about him being a coach.
I think so. I think he's doing a great job, and like I said, I just hope for him to change right now what the expectations are. You know, he gets a pat on the back from me, and I just want him to continue to do his thing and just continue to having the team get better. And obviously each year is going to be more expected of him if he's going to put up, you know, make the squad look like this. So I think he's ready for the challenge. Like you said, he has a lot of stress and stuff that's on top of him, but I think he's happy with where the squad is performing.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm only going to give one other comment here this weekend, and that's because it's a Veterans Weekend and the Seats for Soldiers thing. And I'm going to give my little commentary on this here for what little it's worth, but it is near and dear to me because I think of GIs, and I spent 10 years in the military myself, and I'm thankful for all the schools that give out tickets to veterans. But I have to say, I'm a little bit beyond, and I said beyond, disappointed with Penn State, because the real heroes this weekend, you know, yes, the veterans are coming. That's great. The real heroes are the fans of Penn State, because these fans are the best fans in the country, because these are people who buy tickets at full price and donate them for veterans to come. What saddens me is why Penn State can't be one of the schools in the country that doesn't step up and say, you know what? We're going to lower our tuition here like all the other state schools so the GI can come here and use his bill like everybody else does in all the state universities in Pennsylvania. We're going to, if we don't sell our tickets, we're going to have a pool and we're going to put them in to get veterans in. You know what? If we don't do that, we're going to have a section here for the future leaders of in the military with the ROTC, a section here for them that we're going to give tickets to. Penn State doesn't do it. Penn State always has its hand out and expects to be paid. And I mentioned this to some people in administration here earlier this week because I got a call, and I mentioned some of these concerns I have, and I'm like, don't you folks know what it is to give? Because, you know, you're truly blessed when you give. People don't understand that concept of reciprocity, but when you give, it comes back in ways that you don't imagine. And it's also part of good customer service. It's public relations. I don't get it. That's my little 2 cents, my commentary about this weekend. This is a little beef I have. I think it's great that this is happening, but I don't think that Penn State should get the credit near as much as the applaud goes out to all the fans who are loving and kind, who pay Penn State in full to give those tickets away. So hats off to you, fans. I applaud you. Okay.
Wow.
My name's Skip Dreibelbis, and I approve this message.
Okay, Skip. Yeah, you know what, man? Skip, you were good. You were good. You were good, right?
I had to throw that in there. It's that time of year.
You had us over here all quiet. Man. Honestly, Skip, you know, here's what the situation when it comes to stuff like that, like what you just said. I don't think a lot of people know things like that because that's the first time that I've heard that. You know, and I know I'm coming from a time when we had Coach Paterno and everyone knew how generous Coach Paterno was.
Oh yeah.
When it came to, so from my position, I didn't know that until just now when you just said it. So it's like one of those things like I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even get no tickets or anything. But it's like I can get some tickets for vets if I didn't know that situation. You understand? So.
Well, I'm not putting the thing out there for people to go do that. I think Penn State should say, hey, if we didn't sell it, we're going to give it. You know?
I totally agree with you. And it's not just about you putting it out there for Penn State to do it. What I'm saying is more people can't gripe about it or complain and try to fix the situation if we don't know it.
Right.
You understand? Like it's not known. So how can we, make a petition or do something about it or speak up about the situation? Because I think that's disgusting.
Well, Jimmy, I could go on. It gets beyond that because I'll tell you what's going to happen here Saturday from 3 to 6 at the Bryce Jordan Center. I'm going to go to it. Mm-hmm. They're going to be having a tailgate for the veterans, which I think is great. Now, is Penn State going to be paying it? Big food services taking care of this? Is Penn State putting out the food to do any of this? Is Penn State having its employees do anything? No. It's all volunteer, and everything's donated. We have businesses, Walmart and all these other businesses donating everything. Again, Penn State is not opening up its coffers to anybody for anything, but they want the pat in the back. Hey, this is a great thing Penn State does. Penn State's not doing it. It's the fans. It's the businesses. It's everybody else who's rallying around people who make our country great. And that's what saddens me to this thing because I know kids. I mean, I was in the military for 10 years, and I know these young kids coming in, soldiers and airmen, Marines and sailors. They want to be able to go to Penn State, but you know what? They can't afford it because all these other state universities in Pennsylvania have tuition where it's affordable. Okay, but Penn State says, no, we're going to charge you more. I know you have the GI Bill. We have all the other state schools let you come here and it covers it. But Penn State, we're not going to look out for you GIs. We're going to make you take out that extra loan. We're going to make you pay that extra $1 to have to come here.
Wow.
And to me, I don't like it.
Well,
I don't like it.
Here's my only question though. The only thing I say as a person that works in higher ed, we have to make sure that we, like you said, we got those facts. But first of all, for veteran services, and I don't know if you know it, one of the things to look at is where does Penn State look at, even if they do get them in, Skip, how are we doing with veteran services? We have the Military Times. I can tell you that the university that I'm at, we were 6th in the nation in military services, but we have a person to that. There needs to be full-time staff even beyond the game for these services. I mean, these individuals have situations. A lot of them need counseling. They're coming back from wars. Skip, nobody really took PTSD seriously years ago. My mother called it battle fatigue, but it was PTSD. So I would say, besides bringing them in, let's take a look at them. We're hoping that, and this is why they do have national rankings and they have other things in terms of the services. What are we doing to provide the services for these men and women that are coming back from other things, you know? And it can't be just about November 11th. So we do get it, but kind of like Jimmy's saying, let's find out more and more about not only what we can do about it, about more what the deal is. With financial aid, I know with certain financial aid, I can tell you that you have a limit on a lot of it. You know, you can use it to a certain level. And it's not even just veterans. I would also look at low-income students where the money for financial aid used to go much further, you know. When you came in, you got some grants, you know, you may not even have to take any loans, and you're good. Now, you could be a low-income student, and you still have to take at least the lowest loan. That's never happened before.
That's exactly right.
So in terms of higher education and its affordability, that's only going to go so far, and it's going to be the question, and all the governors and stakeholders and what else people are putting in.
Listen for Laura Ingram weekdays from 9 to noon right here on the Voice of Center County, 970 AM WBLF, Bellefonte State College.
Hey, thanks. Sorry for that interruption, folks. We have our legal ID break there. And Stephen Davis there sharing us some of the requirements here about students and veterans and people who are having a difficulty today of getting an education. And it's nice we talk about these things because, you know, football is great, but without the university and students and everybody else, you know, it wouldn't be there. And I think
that's true. That's affinity groups, you know, like the veterans and like other folks in low income. People come through the EOP program at Penn State. So there's a number of other individuals saying, let's take care of what really needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, as my wife calls it, when you don't paint something real well and you see the little cracks in the wall, she calls them holidays. You know? Otherwise, because I'm saying it because it's spoken like a brother that can't paint.
Right. Well, you know, I just think if you want to get the pat in the back for it, then do something to earn it. You know, that's the point.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that what Jimmy's saying is it takes education. It's taking make sure we understand didn't do as well in school. Basically, when Don Farrell was getting on my behind, it really wasn't about school. I didn't know how things worked. You know, and I think that we all have to work and I think the sports and everybody else can do that, but it's going to be more than just a ball game, Skip. I mean, I hear what you're saying about the football game and feeding them. This is going to be about what real services do they get? Do they have a counselor just for veterans? You know, do we have situations with mental health? Are we just coming in to October to do the 22 push-ups with the 22 veterans a day that could commit suicide? You know, there's just so many other things that can happen with quote unquote these affinity groups, and there's some other groups, and some of them you might not be too down with. But the whole point is, all the students need to be met, and all the people that are coming, their needs need to be met, and we need to work hard to do it. And we need to stop just trying to use the brand and paint the brand over the fact that everything is good. And again, I'm not going to tell you that's just Penn State. I'm going to tell you in higher education that we're talking about the value of a higher education in a master's degree and bachelor's degree. It just isn't what it was before. So how do we get back to what the value is? People are questioning the value of a college education. They are questioning it. And we need to do more so people question it less. Like Jimmy said, be transparent and tell us what we're doing. What do we need? How are we performing? And our money, are we getting our money's worth out of higher education, including the veterans?
Right. Well said.
And like you said, the fans are the top ones. Yes. So that's it. So that's my rant, Jimmy. No, I'm sorry about that. I felt like I was at work there for a second.
Well, you were.
I have to explain what that means.
Yeah,
no, I just came from the doctors, actually, man. I came from the doctors. Everything was good. So that was all good. You know,
it's right down your alley, buddy. So that's why I mentioned tonight, because I know, you know, you being an administrator know a lot more about what's involved with this too. And for the past few years, you know, I was thankful the first time I was up here. We were up here actually doing a show. The first time Penn State had this thing for veterans, and we did a special broadcast like that. And then, you know, that kind of, you know, things became political, and I checked into it. here this week about us doing something like that. And, I talked to the owners of the station, and they're like, well, we approached them on this, and, it becomes a political football, and I'm like, well, here's something, we're offering to do something as a service for free to try to help and promote veterans. Because when we did it last time, Blair and Quintus were there with us. We were doing the show, and we brought different veterans in. They got to share some of their stories, and it was a real. And this is broadcast out through simulcasters, a couple of different radio stations, and the fans and everybody could hear it out there in the parking lots. And they got an opportunity to kind of get an idea what the life is as a veteran, and it was kind of cool. But that all changed. It became political now, and so who knows? But I told I was talking to the owner here tonight. I said, well, you know what? After this year's over, let's send a letter to them. Let them know what we can offer to try to do on our end to try to help promote veteran services and things like that with a special broadcast, and let them send a letter turning us down and explain why, and so, because I think at least we've made the effort at that point to try to reach out ourselves. And, whoever's coming back on a weekend like that, it'd be great to do it again next year. If it turns out that way. If not, it's okay. But at least we made the effort, That's kind of the point I was making with that. So,
and an individual like yourself recognizing it is the most important.
Right. I get to see more of them, and I guess I'm friends with more of these guys, and I know what it is to go through a deployment, and I've taken those tests that you talk about, and I blew it off the charts for the PTSD thing, and I confess myself to having too much pride to sometimes seek help for things, even though the times I have, even through to two different congressmen, you run into the stone wall, and of course that makes you a cynic of the system because you see how bad it's broke, and so
that would be you, Skip.
That would be. It describes me well.
A cynic of the system.
Well, I've seen it. I've been through it. When you take an audio recording of an administrator or a person in the military who filled out your paperwork, turned it all in to have your college loans and things paid back like that. Because I went to 5 different college universities, so it was pretty hefty. And when I was all said and done with all my education and different degrees, and I went that extra mile, recorded it in audio, and I took it to the congressman. And I said, well, maybe I committed a felony here, but it was on a federal installation, so I don't know what those laws are like. I know the different states have laws regarding wiretap, but I recorded it, and I gave them the recording. And I said, you maybe can't say you found my paperwork, but here's the guy who said he turned it in. Now, could you do something about it? And they still couldn't. They said, we can't find the paper. Sorry, I can't help you. And I was like, wow. Okay, what do you got to do? Apart from video recording it, what else is next? So, excuse me. By the way, I didn't mute that guy, so nobody else heard it. But a little bit of a cold night, folks. But so, you try to work through the system, and you try to make things better. And what's broke is broke, and you try to let people know how to fix it. And by talking about it, even things like we're doing tonight can maybe hopefully fall upon some ears of some people who could try to maybe step up and say, you know what, I think this is in my lane of fire. I can work on this. And somebody else, I work over here in this lane. I think maybe I could try to help with that. And if that's what comes of this, then I figure mission accomplished. We've all done something good. So thanks for listening.
Skip, I think you nailed it. Don't we have some, not to belittle anything that you said.
No,
we have some predictions to do?
We have a lot of picks to do here. Know that tonight. Knock it out here, guys. Before I start sounding nasty out there on the radio to everybody more than I am, I try to mute it so folks have to.
Yeah, man, you need mustard, you need honey, you need all this stuff.
Man, I need all types of injections. I went through a Z-Pack and still got this stuff. It's nasty. So hey, let's get on with these picks, guys. We got Michigan State and Illinois. What do you think about that one there, Yaacov?
Hey, gentlemen, do you have a two? Do you all got a two-headed coin, man? You got a two-headed coin, right?
Yaacov, how about you kick for me, Yaacov? How about that?
Wait a minute.
Hey, this is an important pick, man, because
Michigan State is 0-5 in the Big Ten and 2-6 overall.
I'm gonna go with you then, homie.
I mean,
I'm gonna go with Illinois.
I tried that last week. I'm going Michigan State, bro.
Jimmy, that's who I got.
Not happening.
Oh, no, I gotta go for Illinois.
Okay.
Put me down for Illinois.
I'm going. I want to go with Illinois too, man.
I had to start that one out this week that way. Hey, we love you, Yaacov.
Hey, I'm gonna hang in there. They're gonna come up with a big one.
The big one.
Yeah, they're gonna have you buying. They're gonna have you buying the big one, big fridge, and big two dinner.
Oh wow!
Keep it up.
Now, hey, I think they're eligible for the Blue Bonnet Bowl, right?
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
You know, I got in trouble last year making that comment. Did you know that? I got in trouble by suggesting a team going to the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Somebody wrote in and said, "Man, that's a defunct bowl," and I was like, "Oh, you got my point."
Yeah, exactly. In fact, it used to be called the Astro Blue Bonnet Bowl. I still don't know why it was called.
I don't know why.
Is that in the Astro?
That's right. That's right. Was it out there in Houston? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to stick with Illinois.
Yeah, that was one of those bowls that came about.
Stick with Illinois on that one? No. Hey, Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jimmy. All right, we got.
All right, well.
Wow, you had no hesitation, Greg.
Hey, that's up. Hey, Illinois, Michigan State, check next.
All right,
it's so quick,
and it's at Illinois too out there. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
After this last debacle? Oh, come on, y'all.
Yeah. All right. We got Indiana and Rutgers at Rutgers.
Yeah, I got to take Indiana, man.
I go Indiana as well.
So Rutgers will play a good football game, and you know. That's who I can't pick for anything. I'm sorry. I can't go there. I cannot pick Rutgers. Even against Howard, they struggled in the first half, man. Come on.
Yeah, rough season this year. Rough season. Yaacov, you want Rutgers?
Nah, I want Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, they impressed me with that Maryland win. So I like that.
Yeah, well, the next one's
Illinois? Oh, forget it.
Hey, well, this next one's ought to be pretty good too. We got Wisconsin and Northwestern at Northwestern.
Wisconsin. I'm going Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too.
Yeah, Northwestern didn't come through for me last week, did they? I was disappointed.
I forget. Hey, Steph, you weren't on yet. I ran the table last week. I got them all. You guys just missed one.
Well, I got to go with Wisconsin, man. They are just going to come up with it. I think.
Yeah, I think everybody's down with that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Wisconsin.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we have Purdue at Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota's a better coach team. They got a good running back. I'll take Minnesota.
Yeah. All right.
I got Minnesota.
Okay, and Jimmy?
Oh, man. Where's the game at?
It's at Minnesota.
Come on, Jimmy. They get 61 points at home, man.
Who gets hold up? All right, who they play last?
Yeah, that's my point.
And you know what? This is the team that Jimmy said wasn't going to score more than 30. Now, let's see if he remembers that. He ain't going to score no more than 30 points. He said, what? 34 to... I think I said 34 to 14.
Hey, look, big dude, I'm about to start asking questions like I'm in the Dreibelbis. Is it home or away? That's what they played last week.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. How many points they average?
Oh, man.
All right, hold on. All right, so let me stop joking. All right, who are we picking on right now? Let me stop joking. Who are we picking?
I put you down. I put you down for Minnesota.
Minnesota versus who?
Purdue.
Who?
It's at Minnesota?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, Purdue, Minnesota.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Purdue.
Oh, my word. Okay.
Boy, take this thing up, boy.
That's probably the heaviest pick of the year, but he knows he's trying to catch me. He figures if he figures that's going to be one to catch me. I get it.
No, I'm not one away.
Yeah.
Down nice.
Well, you really want to go out on a limb and pick this next one here, Maryland and Michigan, all right? Anybody want to go out on a limb and try to pick Michigan?
Yeah, I'll go out on a limb and pick Michigan.
Yeah. Really, I don't think you want to do that one, buddy. All right, I got everybody down for Michigan here. And we got okay, now this ought to be interesting. Nebraska at Ohio State.
You know what?
Is that where's that?
It's a shoe out there. It's in Ohio State, Columbus.
Well,
8 o'clock.
Ohio State gets the call. I don't think Ohio State loses another big TV game now during the season. I don't think. But Nebraska, anyway, it's going to be quite a football game.
Yeah.
Man. I just don't see them losing at home. I mean, I have to bet. This is where I'm definitely with Jimmy. Home, man, in the shoe's tough, man. That's a tough one. I'm going to go with Ohio State. Not a fantastic game, but I think they're going to beat them.
Yep, I'm with you. Yaacov, you on that one too, Jimmy?
Yeah, I want Ohio State. Yeah, I want Ohio State. Yeah.
Okay, we're all on that. All right, well, here we are. The game that matters the most to us all is Iowa Penn State 7:30 kickoff. First night game since 1987. Last one was versus Pitt. Not long ago. How about that? 30 years ago.
Oh God! And we lost that game.
That's right.
God,
no.
We lost 10-0, man. They got to think.
Way to throw out the negative, Victor.
I'm telling you,
remember what it was?
I'll never forget that game.
Yeah.
I was there. We lost on it. It was 3-0, and let me tell you something. Who was in the game? We had a quarterback that should have stayed in the game. This is where I disagree with Joe. Matt Kisner was having a tough game, and that's my dude, and that's my quarterback. And Darren Roberts, and I hate to put the emphasis on it, but people need to understand the context of Darren Roberts. Darren Roberts was the only African-American quarterback we had, and one of the first ones that we had in the modern era.
He was an
They
athlete.
kept wondering when he was going to get his shot. We called him D-Rob.
Yeah, he was an athlete. I'm telling you, he was an athlete.
And he didn't look like an athlete, but this dude shaped all the things of a modern-day quarterback that are doing today were unacceptable then. And let me tell you something. He was in on the drive. He took us in a touchdown drive. He got us a first down. It was 4th and 10. We're going in for the score, and they take D-Rob back out and put Kisner in. What do?
I remember it. Yep.
He throws the ball, and there's an interception by the corner, and the corner takes it 70 yards to end the game.
Yep.
Tough one. So
I remember that.
So no negative. But guess what? Nothing that has to do with anything. I think we have a different quarterback, different offense. 87 team was okay. It was a year after the championship. I think this team is more on an upward swing, and I think that Iowa, again, I think like Jimmy said, I don't think we're going to break the bank with statistics. I think that we throw the football. I think we throw the football better than anybody in the Big Ten. I really believe so. And because of that, I think we win.
Well, I think we're going to win, but let me make a comment on Darren Roberts. I'll tell you, an exceptional person, a great guy.
Yes, absolutely.
And I remember as a freshman being at practice, and this guy was great. I mean, he would make the first team work hard, man, because nobody could touch him. But I still remember Joe at practice yelling, and I didn't know as an athlete. I thought to myself, I don't know how I could take a head coach in front of the whole team screaming at me, "You're never gonna play here. You're never gonna play here." And I was like, "Whoa!" I mean, that to me, that crushed me, man. That crushed me.
But at the time, the thing to remember is, and I won't get into it, this was the real issue. It had nothing to do with football.
Right.
That's what. And I was his roommate. And guess what? I'll leave it at that. So
my heart went out to him.
Anyway,
I'll tell you that.
So what are y'all thinking? Yeah, my heart goes out to him too. But and again, Jimmy, what I'm saying is, I'm just talking about having a consistent game, being able to overcome things with our passing game. Not that it's great and not that we're going to go deep. It just seems like it's a real fabric of our. I guess what I should have said is it's a real fabric of what we can do and how we can overcome stuff. So without big statistics, we make big plays. Like the kid number 11, I forgot his name. He goes for 80-something yards against someone. What is it? Charles Irvin. Yeah, from Winslow, from South Jersey. We don't even know who this guy is. We got 6 guys that can play receiver at a lot of other places. I mean, you have people like him. You got Saeed Blacknall. We don't have DeAndre Tompkins this week, do we? Is he back yet? Number 3? Anybody know?
I didn't catch that from the report.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I know he hurt his shoulder against Ohio State. But even without him, I just think that it's going to be a tough game. Listen, I think that Trace McSorley is going to bite the dirt a lot. But I think the way we're running that read option, I think that finally we're getting the offense that we need to get. Again, I don't think anybody or either team is going to bowl us over with statistics. I just think that we're going to pull it off. No magic. I just think that we're at a point where we're making plays. And if I didn't think we were making plays, I wouldn't have thought we could win. Iowa, on a normal circumstance, I would pick Iowa. But I really think that we're going to do it again.
Hey, guess who's calling me? David Clark's trying to call me. I'm going to send him a message.
That guy.
Right. Yeah.
That dude.
I can't take a call, man. I'd like to take the call. We didn't realize we're on the radio.
Clarky, man.
We got to get him on.
Yeah, well.
He's calling me now. He's blowing up my phone.
But anyway, that's where I'm at, man. What are y'all thinking, man? What are you thinking, Jimmy?
Man, I think right now, big dude, I'm gonna have to go with Penn State and I'm by at least 14. Wow. And I'm gonna tell you why. You know, I want to say it's gonna be close. You know, like a 3-7. You know, difference. But I truly believe that they're playing with confidence, and I think the excitement going all day, waiting for a whiteout game. I think the confidence is high right now because of, you know, coming up the Ohio State win and then having a 61-yard, you know, a 61-point game, and then now going home for a night game. It's just a nice momentum. You know what I'm saying? So I think confidence-wise that the guys are going to play with a certain edge. Even though Iowa had a bye week, I think they're really nervous right now because they're looking back and they're saying, man, they put up 61. Hold up, what did they do the game before that? Keep in mind that usually when we watch film, we usually watch the last 3 games for the most part. You know, so when you watch the last 3 games and you see 61 points, or you see a battle that ends with a win of Ohio State, and then I forgot who we played before that, but it was a win as well, right? You know, from prior to that. So when you now look at that, and you know Maryland is known for running the ball, and Penn State plays them tough, and Ohio State is known for and Ohio State runs the ball and they do well and so on, and Penn State plays them tough, and they won the game. So now you go win Maryland, win Ohio State, win Purdue, 61 points. And then now you back home in a whiteout game in Beaver Stadium, 107 plus, and I have to give them an extra 7 points for that, you know. But then also you got to keep in mind whether win or anything else is the factor. Whether it's a factor, Penn State already showed that they could handle that. They handled that when they had that with Ohio State. Now I understand that we had the ball bounced perfectly into, you know, backhands and stuff for touchdowns. So I understand that. But I just think we've done a great job of responding with adversity, and I think our confidence is high. So the minimum now I'll say is, I want to say something like 30 or 32 to 17.
I'm writing it down 32 to what? 17. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't give a score. I was thinking more like maybe, I don't know, 27-20. I mean, that's what us holding them off. You know, I think we're going to be up and hold them off. I'm going to say 27-20 State.
I'm close to you. Yaacov, what are you thinking?
I mean, I'm definitely Penn State. I think both of you guys are right there, though. I'm kind of seeing both of what you guys said. So I think I'm going to go in the middle and say 28-24.
Oh, Yaacov, you're doing this. I already had that written down for mine. I got it right here. Yeah, that's exactly what I already had down for mine. Same exact score as my pick. Good call.
Oh.
Hey, see if we get it right.
I think it's going to be right in the area, though. I think it's going to be in the area.
I like how your crew does that. I like that moniker he has, man. There's nothing like that, man. That is so funny, man.
I mean, I definitely think that bye week is really going to help them, I feel, but at the same time, I feel like the Beaver Stadium is going to be something, too. So, you know, but I mean, they played some good teams too. So I think it's gonna be a good, they're not. I don't think they're gonna back down, and they're. I don't think that they're weak. Like, I think that they're strong team. So it's gonna be interesting.
It will be. Wow, this has been the over fastest hour in football. We actually ran over tonight, folks, and we'll be turning you back over here, regular scheduled program in a second. But I want to thank everybody for their comments here tonight, and it's always it's the most fun I have of the week. That was my highlight of the week. I love talking to you guys, talking football here on Lions Live. So it's always a blast.
Hey, hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
I'm changing my pick to Minnesota.
Oh, you.
Whoa! Hey, man.
Put it all away. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get it back out here. All right.
Hey, you know what? Hey, listen, man. He earned it, man. He earned it. Give
You might want to change that Wisconsin Northwestern game.
No, not
Yeah.
that.
Not a great one. The great one gets to change it, man. He gets to change it.
Okay, let me get in here.
Yeah, only reason why I said that because I'm listening. I'm watching who you guys have for the series.
Oh man, I'll tell you the truth. I picked the Cubs, but I didn't really think they would come back. Not just because I thought they had it going. I don't know really all what's going on or nothing. So I haven't really kept up with it, to be honest with you. I'll probably watch some of that and go watch some White Shadow on my late 70s TV. Man. I feel I got that type of feel.
Oh, there you go. I got the Me TV going in TV land.
Yeah, there you go.
These guys are young yet, Stefan. They don't know the good old shows from days gone by.
Well, I'd be surprised, man, because they just feel like we're like good times, man. They've been rerunning that since 1980.
Oh yeah, exactly. I remember.
Come on, we know about good times.
Oh, you remember rerun? What's happening?
Oh yeah,
what's happening? Yeah, no rerun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Freddie Stubbs.
Of course, my favorite from back then, growing up as a kid. In fact, I call my brother this all the time because we used to watch Sanford and Son all the time. I always call my brother dummy. I even got a program on my phone. You big dummy.
Sanford and Son. That was the non-political correct days.
Oh,
man.
yeah, I loved it. They're still great today.
Well, they had to cut out some of the
big one.
Yeah,
they had
they
Esther.
had to cut out some stuff on there. They were rough. But
Man, they were.
Like
that language was rough back then. They played that too. That stuff today wouldn't fly. That wouldn't fly today, man. Even the Jeffersons back then wouldn't even. They wouldn't play. And same all the family too. Same that stuff in All the Family, man. Flintstones as well. Even cartoons, man. That was
Yeah, the Flintstones, man. They called that Savage, man. They couldn't find a name for him, so they called him Saturday because Saturday was an off day. And he's definitely off. Call my dude Saturday. Oh man, we gotta get off the station before we get in trouble.
I know,
man.
we will. But hey, we mean it in all love, so it ain't bad. We get a good laugh from it. We saw it for what it was. It's entertainment value. We got to laugh at it because that's all it was. So, wow. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Love y'all, and thank y'all for joining us, folks out there. LionsLive.com. We'll be doing a special broadcast here Friday from 5 to 7 at the Giant. Be sure to stop out and join us and tune in and listen to the broadcast throughout Pennsylvania with Jed Donahue then. So on behalf of Big Dude Stefan Davis, Yaacov Yisrael, and Jimmy Kennedy, the Grizz, my name's Skip Dreibelbis. Thanks for joining us. We're going to return you back to our regularly scheduled program. Have a great night. Safe travels this weekend. Lord bless.
They were saying, oh, no, we got them all year round. We just don't advertise them till. So don't make fun of me. I'm being totally basic white girl right now. But I got this green cup. They call them the Starbucks holiday cups. And this is what they said about them because they're not red anymore. They're green. And they say,
1 minute.